Hi, this is some feedback for your research paper for Child Development 100. So you recently turned in your Child Development 100 research paper. I am slowly working through it and offering you very specific, very targeted feedback on the particular paper that you turned in. A lot of the issues that I see are somewhat common throughout. So I thought that I would also film a video for you guys where I will go over APA style. I'll go over finding good resources, and then I'll go over just the basics of writing a paper. So if you are new to attending college, or if you have recently returned after a long while, or perhaps in the last couple of semesters you really have focused on the math and science and less of the writing aspects of collegiate learning, then you might want to kind of revisit the basics of writing a paper. So I'll start with just APA to begin with. Then I'm going to jump into finding good sources, and then once again at the very end I will do just the basics of writing a good paper. Feel free to skip around this video to look at and to view things that are important to you. So if you need help in all three, you might want to watch this entire video. If you're just looking for a refresher on APA, just look at the beginning. If you just want to know about finding good sources, it's more in the middle, and then at the very end, once again, will be the paper. So feel free to use this video to the best of your advantage with what you need in order to write a better research paper by the end of this semester. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing my screens with a lot of different resources for you so that you can kind of see different places to get support in how to write papers. So I'm going to start off with APA. I'm going to share the screen with so this is the Child Development 100 homepage. So when you log on to Palomar's Canvas page, this is what you see. So these should be very familiar to you. You've seen them all semester. If you haven't yet clicked on the research paper, I hope that you have and that you've turned in a rough draft. I hope that you see this research paper module. The first thing is the video that has been there since the first day of school, actually introducing the research paper to you. It's the video talking about what I want as far as the assignment. The second resource is a document. This is your research paper written instructions. It also has the rubric for both the rough draft and the final draft. If you haven't taken a look at either of these, that's a great place to start. I am bringing this up because I'm sharing the screen with this because for some of you, you forgot or you just were really unaware about APA. And so we, as Palomar, have come up with a quick reference guide for you guys in order to kind of hit the biggest parts of APA, especially when it comes to formatting. So when I am grading and I'm looking for cover page and abstract, there should be a running head at the top. There should also be page numbers and a reference page as well. Those are kind of the big things. So if you'd like to know more about APA, please download this APA checklist that's up on Canvas in our class for you. It talks about what the title page should have. It talks about what the abstract should have, the body of the paper, what headings look like. So if it's what a heading should be, like for your introductory paragraph or conclusion, how you indent them, and how you might do a direct quotation as well. Then the title page as well. And this is letting you know exactly what it looks like. So that's once again on Canvas, and it is called the APA checklist. Also on Canvas, within that same thing is once again, this is a Palomar created document for you to help you remember what APA looks like, or for you that are learning it for the first time, how to do it. So this is our quick reference guide. So this is exactly what it's going to look like. So don't recreate this, recreate it towards your actual paper that you're writing. So you're going to do running head, so keep it exactly like that, and then your title all in caps. So it could be social and emotional development in preschool children. So then you'll rewrite it again, social and emotional development in preschool age children. Then your name, Jane Doe, Child Development 100, and then Palomar College. Then on the second page, you're going to have the title all in caps, Child Development and social and emotional development in preschool age children. Then you write abstract. Then you give me a very, very small, less than 200 words, very concise description of what you're going to be writing about. In this paper, I will be exploring the social and emotional development that children in the preschool ages learn. Preschool age is 3 to 6, and in this age, they learn a variety of different things related to social and emotional development, something like that. Then on the third page, you're going to have the title all in caps again. Then you're going to have a level 1 heading. So it could be something about your topic. And then this is when so don't write level 1 heading, give it an actual heading relating to what you're going to be talking about. Then you're going to start the actual body of your paper. So your actual writing of the paper doesn't start until page 3 of your paper. At that point, you can go ahead and you can start writing with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, like all papers are going to have. This should be 3 to 4 pages of writing about your topic. And then on the very, very last page is going to be your references as well. So anything that you referenced into the paper, anything that was new to you, anything that you paraphrased, you summarized, new knowledge or direct quotations have to have a citation in the body of the paper, and they also have to have it in the references as well. So that is what we have on Canvas. So that is an awesome place for you to start, especially as you are writing your papers. So please check that out. Once again, it is the research paper module on Canvas. Then I also want to give you some more information as well. So this is the Purdue site, and it's called the Online Writing Lab, or OWL, O-W-L. So like a woohoo, an owl, is their online writing lab. And this is the best online support that I have ever seen for writing an APA or an MLA paper. We're APA in this class, and many places that you might transfer are as well. So in addition to helping you be able to communicate really effectively and to learn more about child development, we're also getting some of you ready to be transfer ready to go to a Cal State, a San Diego State, a UC system, or any private university as well. We are trying to teach you those skills as well. So the best thing that you can do if you're still confused about APA is to come to this site. It has an introduction, it has an overview, it has general format, and then any kind of questions or concerns that you would have, it's going to help you do in-text citations. I get confused too. I totally forgot how I would cite a student paper. So in some of my bigger research work that I do, professional development wise, I'm getting ready to present at a small conference on infants and toddlers, and through my through my own research, I found that I needed to cite a student paper from a university back east. Totally forgot how to do it. I came to OWL and they helped me remember how in my paper and how on a PowerPoint I would give a citation for a student paper. So even if you know a lot about writing papers, this is a great source for you about books, about print sources, about electronic sources, online sources. It also gives you information about title pages, running heads, all of the things that we've kind of talked about as well. There's even a sample for you as well to take a look at. So this is the OWL site at Purdue University. Again, if you just Google OWL Purdue, it will come up and you will have some great resources as well. So now I would like to also, I'm going to go back to Canvas, and then I am going to do a new share, and I am going to start talking about internet citations and how we kind of find really great sources. So let me get this going. Sorry. Okay, so this is a short PowerPoint about using the internet and using it specifically for reliable sites for research and writing. I would really prefer that most of your work comes from the textbook, from a book, or from a peer-reviewed journal, and I will tell you later how to find peer-reviewed journals, but I do know that in this day and age with all the technology that we have, most students start out their work by going online and researching from an online space. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about that so that you can make better choices and better decisions when it comes to using the internet for research and writing. All right, so meet Bryce. Bryce is really smart. He likes to write on blogs and Reddit and forums and Instagram posts on Wikipedia. He's really exciting. He writes really interesting and makes people totally agree with his points. It's really easy to read. He'll take a really complex topic and he'll make it really easy for you to understand. He'll often make really funny metaphors or give you examples that are outlandish and easy to understand. And people often believe him. He seldom signs his work. He definitely doesn't edit it, and even if he's been proven incorrect, he won't ever say that he was. He'll use facts, data, quotations. He'll have lots of sources that you could click on, and it'll take you to research review and things like that. And this all makes you think that his arguments are really, really credible. All right, get ready. Meet Bryce. Credentials for Bryce. He's 11 years old. He gets all A's except one time he got a B in art on his report card. He still enjoys a good episode of Diego. He prefers Cocoa Puffs to Lucky Charms. And one time he wore his pants backwards to school on a dare. Is Bryce a credible source? He is not. You probably like reading about him. But the point is that all of this information that you can get online is used in really large quantities, and it's always being created and revised on the internet, especially on sources like Wikipedia. So in this case, we know that all the information online is ranging from very good to very bad and includes every shade in between. So the solution is simple. Okay, I'm going to use a kind of childish metaphor. Once again, it's child development, so don't fault me on that one. I do like to use it because it's an acronym, it's easy to remember, and it will help you as you're kind of going through sources. So it is CARS. We're looking for credibility, accuracy, reasonableness, and support as well. So it's CARS. That's what makes it easy for you guys to remember. So when we're looking for credibility, we're looking at kind of information quality. We're looking and we want to look at the author's education, training, or experience, the organization they're writing for, their reputation, their position. What we want to do is we want to find good evidence that allows us to trust our source. So if we are writing about child development, we're going to look for people who have masters and doctorates in child development, psychology, education, special education. Those would show us that they've been steeped in the study. They have a great background, knowledge, and understanding of their field, and they've done it in a professional and collegiate space, and they know about researching and referencing as well. Also, the organization, are they coming at us from a university or a college? Are they coming at us from a trusted nonpartisan, nonprofit space that's dedicated to knowledge and learning, like the RAND Institute is one for us here out in the West Coast in California. They have fantastic resources as well. We might also look at the title, the author's reputation, and their position as well. So those all would really, they're like your job position, your function, your title. Are you a professor or an instructor? Are you a teacher? Do you lecture in this? And once again, you're not just Bryce, who's 11 years old, who's taken an interest in child development and is, writing a lot of kind of nonsense online. So what would give us a lack of credibility? If it's an anonymous source, if there's often bad grammar and misspelled words, it means that it hasn't gone through kind of a peer review process. Somebody hasn't read it and checked for it, all of the grammar and misspelled words. It's not current. So typically I will cite resources that are a little bit old. Erickson and Piaget have long passed away, but we're still learning about their stage theory. When it's coming with upcoming research, I make sure that it's been in the last couple of years, but we know that it's really current to what we're learning about children right now. All right, we also want to learn about accuracy. So we need to have factual, detailed, exact, comprehensive information. We want it to have, because the completeness and the accuracy really, really matter as well. So we need a source that's correct today. So not a couple of years ago, 10 years, 20 years ago, especially when we're learning about brain development and science is continuing to change. So it needs to be somewhat current, and it gives us a whole truth as well. So sometimes there's some gray area within things that we read. There might be strengths and there might be weaknesses, but that gives us a complete picture about the topic that we're learning about. So what would tell us that there was a lack of accuracy? If the writing that we're reading or the research paper or the empirical research is short, or it's got a narrow area of focus, or it's lacking any real insight, or there just doesn't seem to be a purpose for having this article written. Another thing that we're going to be looking at is reasonable. How reasonable is the source? Is it fair, balanced, objective, and with no conflict of interest? So typically when we're writing for a professional or a collegiate space, we're not typically going to engage in things that might be considered hyper-partisan or take a really strong view on those types of things. So we have a lot of discussion about fake news, and it's very easy to put fake news on the internet, and it's very easy to put them on social media spaces and get it to go viral or something like that. We really want to be balanced and objective and seeming to have no conflict of interest. Especially when we engage in research, we should go in with the objective that we're going to find, we're going to go where the findings in the research take us, and we shouldn't have preconceived notions about what we're going to learn. So we want a source that engages the subject, thinks about it thoughtfully, reasonably, and is concerned with the truth. And that's why a lot of times they brought up the credentials of the person who's writing and reading about this. You want somebody who has been steeped in this professionally, who has spent a lot of time thinking and learning and being taught about their own particular topic, so that they have the body of knowledge and understanding to understand what the empirical research is telling us, and then to be able to communicate it as effectively as possible. Then we also need support as well. Sources, contact information, claims, how they support the claims that they make with research and documentation. So we want convincing evidence, peer-reviewed research coming from larger sample sizes than just a couple of children or a couple of families, and it's a source that you can, what we call, triangulate. So we're going to find two other sources that support it. So it's not just been made and just tossed out there and nobody can kind of substantiate that these researchers made these types of claims as well. So once again, that is the CARS checklist. So I think the biggest thing, and the thing that I would like you guys to take away from, is that you need to be going online to Palomar website, to our library, which I will show you in a minute, and looking for texts, for books, for peer-reviewed journals that have gone through a peer review process where somebody has looked at the research and the data and the claims and the arguments that you're making about child development or psychology or sociology, something like that, and it has been substantiated by somebody in a very controlled environment, which is a journal kind of environment as well. Also, when you go online, though, you need to have a source that has an author's name, the author's title or position, and an organizational affiliation, the date that it was written or created, contact information, and then some of those other indicators of information quality that I've gone over before: accuracy, being reasonable, and having support for your documentation as well. So the entire CARS checklist is important. If you're going to take anything away from what I'm talking about right now, looking online for kind of non-fake news, child development rated information, this is the type of information that you are going to be looking for. It's also something that I will be grading for as well. If your sources seem to be somewhat problematic, I will let you know. Sometimes in our course of research, we find this gorgeous, wonderful website that seems really slickly produced, and I've fallen for this myself. I went down a whole rabbit hole because I saw this, it was an institute, and they had this and they had that, and they had a great PDF that I could download and give to my students, and it was open educational research. It just seemed wonderful. I did a little bit more digging. I couldn't find an author's name, a title, a position. I couldn't find anything about the institute, anything like that. And so I ultimately couldn't find it. And so I wasn't able to use this resource because that kind of had some red flags for me. Why isn't this information available in something that's calling themselves an institute? They should have some kind of staff or reviewers or something like that with their names and titles and organizational backgrounds, and also dates of the things that they've published. And then also sometimes the links that I had and that I were looking for wouldn't take me to the actual research that they were telling me it was going to take me to. It was taking me to a different empirical research, something like that. So it's something that I have to do all the time, and it's something with you as consumers in your personal life. And then when you are writing collegiate style papers, it's very important that you see this as well. So right now I'm going to I'm going to stop this share. And I am going to go back online, and I am going to show you the Palomar Library website, because a lot of this is going to help you be able to write some better research papers. So anything that you're expected to do at Palomar, write a paper, learn how to do math, study well, take tests, we can support you in any of those things that you need to learn at different departments all over Palomar. So in addition to our library, we have a writing center that I'll go over in a few minutes. We also have tutoring services. We have a math support center as well. We also have a lot more wraparound services with our counselors. We have mental health counseling. We have doctors and nurses if you are sick, free flu shots, whatever you need to keep you at Palomar and to help you be the best student you can and achieve whatever your goals. If it's transferring, graduation, a permit, a certificate, whatever it is, we are here to help and support you. So in this case, one of the bigger things that you're going to need to do, what I've been talking about this whole video, is writing that paper. So please check out the Palomar College Library. If you go to our main page and you type in library, it will take you here. Not only does it have all of the hours, but it typically has like fun exhibits and anything that you might need to know about the library is always going to be on the first page. Then we have all kinds of information on this left-hand toolbar. We have research help, so a lot of the stuff that I've talked about. We have an introduction to information and literacy services, which I've literally just talked about. We also have periodicals and databases as well. So this is a great place to try a trial database to learn more, like the Chicago Manual of Style. This would be a fantastic place if you need to know more about APA or MLA and writing papers. And then also if you needed to find a really specific online journal, a peer-reviewed journal that has great research, and you probably, if it's coming through our library, it's probably already been looked at the librarians, or it's a peer-reviewed journal, and so we know what's in it is going to be really important as well. So there's all different types of journals, and New York Times, Newswires, so what I would recommend doing is taking a look through this. If you see some information that you think is really important and you would like to do it, just make sure that you have your student ID, or for me, my faculty and staff ID number, and then your password as well. And this should be able to help you log in, and you can get all different kinds of awesome access to these journals that we would like to see in your research paper. So for example, ERIC is a huge one within our field. It's Education and Resource Information Center. So it's tons of digest references page, gives lots of citation abstracts from education and education related journals. So this might be a fantastic one for you guys as well. So this is at the Palomar College Library. So once again, this is their homepage here at Palomar. It has a lot of wonderful information for you guys, and I highly recommend that you check out the Palomar College Library. This is the brand new one that's going to be open in spring 2019, and then we also have one at the Escondido Center, and then we also have all different kinds of services. We can get books for you if you needed a special book. You can ask the librarian to do that as well. So that is what we have here at Palomar. In addition to that, we have the English Department Writing Center as well. This is a fantastic resource, and I would definitely urge you guys to take a look at it. So if you need assistance in a writing assignment, please check this out. It's typically better to call this number right here and make an appointment. You can let them know what type of work you're working on so that they can kind of help you with that type of thing. So this is their website. Once again, at Palomar, we have a lot of wraparound services designed to help you. So you can come in on a walk-in basis, but if there's a tutor available, if they're helping somebody else, you might not get as much time. That's why I always urge people to make an appointment. And so typically this is the type of thing that they want. They want to see a copy of a draft. You shouldn't just walk in and be like, hey, I need to write a paper. They're going to want to give you some targeted support. So like a rough draft that you've just completed with me, taking that in and having them help you along with the textbook, study notes, a book that you're looking at, the links for the research that you have, plus your Palomar ID number. And then typically there might be some cost associated with this. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but just bring that as well. All right, so that is what I was going to talk about. I'm going to share this again, and this is for writing research. So in addition to going to the Palomar Writing Center, I also want to just talk about writing, the basics of writing a paper. So if you've written papers before and you feel really good about introductions, bodies, or conclusions, feel free to stop watching this video. Once again, if you're a returning student, you haven't written a paper in a really long time, you can maybe focused on more math and science, or this is your first time writing a paper in a collegiate atmosphere, I'm just going to go over the basics of writing a paper. Typically, a paper should start out with, and this is the outline that I'm looking at right now, it should start out with an introduction. In the introduction, you're going to orientate the reader to what your topic or your thesis is. You're going to identify the focus and the purpose. You're going to outline the scope and tell me what the paper is going to be about as well. You're also going to have a body, and this is going to be the majority of your paper as well. This is where you're going to give me multiple paragraphs that support this thesis. So it's going to support the scope, the focus, and the purpose of your paper. You'll typically start out with one topic sentence, then you'll give supporting details, and then you'll give a concluding sentence. That's how each paragraph of a paper should typically be written. So for example, if I was once again writing about social and emotional development for preschool-aged children, I would talk about in my introduction paragraphs, I would introduce you to the topic of social and emotional development. I might briefly define what social and emotional development is, and then also the ages of preschool-aged children. So about 3 to 6 years old. Then I'll get into the body. So in a topic sentence, I might talk about what is social and emotional development. Supporting details would give me maybe some information about Erik Erikson and how he thinks children learn at this age, and then I would wrap it up at the end. Then I would go on to another paragraph that talks about maybe if children have difficulties learning socially and emotionally. Once again, giving some supporting details, references, quotations from books and text, then a concluding sentence that ties it all up. So I'm going to have lots and lots of paragraphs that support my ultimate thesis and what I'm writing about. And then within each paragraph as well, there's a lot of supporting detail with references and research as well. Then at the very, very end, after I've totally explored social and emotional development, and I've totally explored preschool development, and I've given you high quality research about Erik Erikson and how he thinks children learn at this age, then I'm going to jump into a conclusion. I'm going to restate what my thesis is about the importance of children learning socially and emotionally for ages 3 to 6. And I'm going to summarize my argument that's important we teach children about these types of development early on so that they can grow up to be healthy individuals. So that is the basics of writing a paper. Typically in your introduction though, I'm going to give you a little bit more detail on all of these. You can have an intention grabber, sometimes a fun fact about, children ages 3 to 6, or about adolescent screen time, or about ADHD, whatever your topic is, you might want to have a fun fact or pose a question, give a case study or an example. In addition to that, an intention grabber, you might also want a brief explanation of your topic and a thesis statement as well. So what is your topic and why are you exploring it? Why is it important? So this is an example. Influenza, commonly referred to as the flu, affects 5 to 20% of Americans each year. Discovered in 1918, the flu, blah, 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 blah. So blah, 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 what I mean by that is research, 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 citation, 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 my references and research that back up the claims that I have. Then at the end of my introductory paragraph, by learning about its causes, symptoms, and treatments, we can get a better understanding of how to handle the flu. So this is another one. What disease kills 36,000 people sorry, kills 36,000 people a year. Believe it or not, the answer is influenza. And then more research, more references, more citations. And then once again, it's important to understand the causes, symptoms, and treatments for this common disease. So once again, I want to talk about body paragraphs. This is where the body of your work is. So you might want to think of it as a hamburger. So the top bun is your topic sentence, tells me about what the paragraph's going to be about. Then the meat of the paragraph, like the really yummy, the bacon, the avocado, the blue cheese, everything that I want to eat in a paper, or what I want to read in a paper, or what I want to eat in a burger, is going to be my supporting detail. It's going to be my references. It's going to be my research. It's going to be my citations and my quotations that support my topic sentence about flu or social and emotional development. And then holding everything together so that it doesn't just fall out, and it, you know, wraps it up and makes it into a great little hamburger that you definitely want to eat, is a concluding sentence. So you need the top and the bottom in order to support it. And then there's the meat in the middle, which is just the meaty part that you really want to impart on your reader and tell them about research and reference. A body paragraph is going to have a topic sentence, so the reader know what they're going to be learning about. The facts on that topic, citations are included. You're going to have, and if you have lots of information, so it's a huge topic, you can have multiple paragraphs supporting one big idea. Then you have a heading and you talk about signs and symptoms of social and emotional development. Something like that, and you have multiple paragraphs supporting it. And then once again, you're going to have a concluding sentence in each paragraph as well. So the biggest thing to do is have a lot of notes and a lot of research, and then turn them into good sentences. So you're going to have lots of facts, you're going to have lots of reference, a lot of research that you've done about your topic, but don't think that you have to use every note. If I was to go, when I looked at my master's work, I had my notes, I had in each area that I was learning about, I had like these type binders. So I had this much for each topic that I was looking at for my master's program. And then I have 5 boxes. I turned that into 150 pages of writing. So I needed a lot of research about children, how children learn language and bilingual education. That's what I was writing about for my master's. But I didn't take every single note that I wrote and turn it into that 150 pages. I wrote a lot, and I took things out and I said, this makes more sense here. This statistic plays more into what my topic is about, yada, 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 in order to kind of have a really good, very long dissertation at the end. So if you have a list, something like this, this is fantastic. I was reading, if I went online, because I think I have the flu, this would be fantastic. Oh, fever, check. Cough, check. Sore throat, check. Muscle body aches, check. Fantastic, in a great Dr. Google type sense. Probably not the best if we're writing a paper now. So this is how you would turn it into. So it might first be a cold, blah, you know, because it has body aches, headaches, and fatigue. Then it's good to note that it can turn into blah, 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 blah. So taking that checklist that I just showed you and turning it into a paragraph is typically a better way to write a reference paper. All right, and then finally, we're going to jump into our conclusion paper, and that will be it for this video. So in conclusion, I restate my main points in a super wordy fashion to squeeze another paragraph out of this paper. You'll notice that I typically don't have a lot of word counts on my papers. I want you to write so that you can communicate with me what your topic is about. You have the references and researches needed. That is more important to me than typically having a word count to this. So don't feel like you need to put in flowery adjectives or add sentences that you've already kind of said before. You just changed some of the words because you're trying to hit a word count. I would rather that you practice being effective communicators. So a conclusion needs to have, once again, a topic sentence, and then you're summarizing the entire paper and you're restating your thesis or what your area of focus was. So if we were talking about flu in this whole PowerPoint, it's clear why it's so important to avoid getting influenza. Luckily, you can prevent contracting this virus by simply getting a vaccine. Since a different strain of the flu comes around each year, it's imperative to get your vaccine yearly as well. So there's going to be a lot more, but we're going to talk about, we're going to wrap up the whole information about getting the flu. So in this video, which got a little bit wordy, I talked about a couple of different things. I talked about APA, and you can go on our Canvas site, or you can go at the OWL at Purdue site in order to get more information about writing an APA paper, which is a requirement and something I will be grading for in the research paper that you will be turning in at the end of this semester. Second of all, I talked about online sources, so making sure that the things that you are researching and learning about are CARS, credible, accurate, reasonable, and they have supporting documentation as well. I've also talked about going to Palomar for writing support so that they can help you write, and they can also at our library help you find great resources and references that are peer-reviewed as well, and we know are going to be great sources when writing your papers. Finally, I gave you a little bit of background about writing paragraphs and structuring your paper as a whole so that your argument and the thesis that you're writing about, so the topic that you're writing about, is well supported and your paragraphs flow well together in order to effectively communicate to me what you were writing about and what you ultimately learned about as well. So once again, this video is in support of the targeted feedback that I'll be giving you individually and personally on Canvas in your research paper rough draft. So please look for that in the next couple of weeks as I go through each and every one of yours rough drafts and give you some feedback. Thanks so much. I'll see you on Canvas.